Hello, this is Harry Watt, North Carolina State University Wood Products Extension. I'm a wood products specialist. This is a slideshow video about small sawmill business workshop on the topic of marketing. This is part of the six small sawmill business workshops that were conducted in 2021 and 22 with a U.S. Forest Service grant. And what we tried to do, and were greatly successful, we had 280 people attend these six workshops that stretched from Iowa all the way to New Hampshire. And we had a great focus on running small sawmill operations that could turn into profitable businesses. This photo here on the front title here is a log on a small sawmill with an extension bed that's going into a reproduction fort in western North Carolina. It's a white oak log. It's 16 by 16 inches, and that was the original specifications when they built the fort for the ground level logs. NC State, the Wood Education and Resource Center, the U.S. Forest Service does not discriminate on any basis, and if anyone has a complaint, they can file it with the USDA, the U.S. Forest Service, NC State, or the Wood Education Center. This topic is marketing, and what we're trying to do in marketing is have a strategy that we can grow sales with our logs and lumber coming off your mill and not going off your mill. And I just wanted to get this at the start to make people understand that you don't have to get all your revenue from what you saw on your mill. See, that is a limiting factor by your hours, your mill capacity, and so forth. Whereas you can get extra revenue for buying other people's products and reselling it. And an example of that, if you have a mill where you don't have a species of lumber or a thickness or some other characteristic, and your customers are asking can they buy it from you, and either you can't do it or don't want to do it, it's fine to go buy that from somebody else and resell it. You don't have to saw every stick of wood that you sell. The biggest problem that we have for these small sawmills is we don't generate enough revenue. So that's what you want to do. You want to find a way to grow revenue. So you can buy and resell logs, you can buy and resell lumber, you can do lots and lots of things. You can have other people make things that you sell, like planter boxes or benches or picnic tables. You're trying to drive revenue because you've got plenty of expenses. So if you're wanting to buy and resell logs, we call that a wood yard, where maybe 100 logs come in a week and you saw 50 of them and the other 50 you sell. So you pick and choose what you want. The upside is you're not limited by how much you can sell. For the most part, you do have some limits in space and time and equipment, but you're not limited as much as you are by your mill. And you can buy and sell used equipment too. It may be your specialty is finding and repairing edgers, for example, that you like edgers and you can spot one somewhere and you can buy it for, say it's not in good shape, for $500. You spend a month working on it in your spare time and you sell it for $3,000, that kind of thing. It's like buying and selling used cars. So when you look, and I really wanted to get this out front, is open up your mind, expand your horizons, and look and see where you can wheel and deal and make some money. You really want to be able to talk to your customers, and you can also a lot of times have to explain how you can use your lumber to do what they want. And if you look at the photograph, the lower left, you see where this guy has taken some slabs and he's edged off the right and left side, or they have a small straight edge that somebody can use on a barn siding or an animal pen or something like that. You can sell that too, because it replaces what a board would be. If that round slab is a replacement for a $10 board, well, it has value too. So one thing I like to notice about what this guy has done is he's put a pallet down to keep his wood off the ground. That allows him to use a lift to pick it up and move it around, and certainly keeps the mud and dirt and gravel out of his wood. So we can talk to customers and find out their needs. It's kind of universal in rural areas. You need barn and farm lumber for things. You need chicken coops, you need pens, you need fences. There's a lot of things. The house siding pattern, that's the board and batting, is a great pattern. Live edge is also from time to time quite popular. There are some resistant species in the east, like black locust, that can make fence posts. Cants and timbers are great for fireplace mantles, beams, interior uses, porch posts. You can use it sometimes in structural applications, depending on that application. But you certainly want to always listen to what the customers are doing. Find out why they're going to the big box store, why they're going to the local alternative to what you can do. It may be you can save them some money, or maybe they just think you're a great person. There is marketing, and if you go to take a marketing class at a college, they always have what they call the marketing concept. And the path is, as you're out in the world trying to get a customer, you start off with what we call a suspect. And a suspect is somebody that might be able to use what you have. A prospect is you find out they are using what you have. They may be getting it from somebody else, or they have a project coming up where they need it. So that person is one where we really want to pay attention to. And the customers is when they actually take our products and services and we get money back from them. So there's a lot more suspects and a lot more prospects than there are customers, but that we kind of whittle them down, or we sift them out like we do with flour or panning for gold. We're trying to find those golden customers that'll actually keep us in business. And we want to pre-sell if we can, more than stock inventory. It's great to have inventory, and I believe you need to have inventory, because when somebody wants it, if you've got it on hand, they may buy it where they won't wait for it. But if you can sell things in advance, that's cool. That's great. That's wonderful. That's really important for green sawmills, to get it away from your mill as soon as you saw it. You can, as you look at your customers, look at your quality of customers like you look at your quality of lumber and logs. And if you've got low margin customers that are just more trouble than they're worth, you want to weed them out and replace them for higher margin customers, better paying customers, and also look at what products you can upgrade to. You can ask customers, what do they need? What do they want? When do they want it? Why do they want it? All those questions. Let your customers tell you what they're doing and what they're trying to do. See, they have projects. They need materials. They can get them from you. They can get them someplace else. But you really would like to have a shot at getting their business. And you could look and see, what are they buying? Is it something that could come off of your mill? Is it something that you could do with a little modification? You just don't know until you look and ask and really put your mind to it. But you might want to keep some records, might want to keep a weekly journal in your business and jot down names, phone numbers, ideas, see what's working for you. Gary McIntyre in Kentucky had a great revelation when he had a small sawmill open house one Saturday. And he said, Harry, I couldn't believe it. It was kind of a on and off raining day. I had 200 people come. I fed them hot dogs. They looked at my lumber. They bought my lumber. It was just a great experience. And I live out in the middle of nowhere. I didn't know we had 200 people that would come to anything other than a funeral. So he said it was really amazing to try things. He said it didn't really cost me a whole lot. It was a lot of fun. I met people I never knew before, and I sold a lot of lumber. So keep your mind open and think about what really might work for you. You don't have to have an open house every week, but you certainly could have one in the spring and one in the fall. What about finding these suspects and prospects? Well, if you go to any kind of a public event, you can collect names, email addresses, texting, phone numbers, that kind of thing. So collecting names and contacts is a good idea, because you may forget in future times what somebody's name was or where they lived, but if you got it jotted down in a journal, then you can go back and find it. And you can, if you're very savvy with publicity, you can write up a little article, send it to the newspaper. You can be online, you can print. You can go to things like county fairs and set up and do demos, or some of Civic Club may have some kind of an event, for the public, and just ask them if you can bring a couple logs over and saw, because you can entertain a lot of people that way. You certainly can have your web page. You can have podcasts. It's amazing what there have been people with small sawmills that have generated podcasts and YouTube videos that have thousands of subscribers that keep up with them. It's just really amazing. If you want to use business databases, you can go to your library, and a lot of libraries have a database available, and that's where you can do searches for other businesses if you're looking for commercial accounts. You can join the local chamber of commerce, business groups, civic clubs to get to know more people, and you might want to have the attitude that everybody needs to know who I am. There's just one more person needs to know I've got lumber. One more person needs to know something. You can do things like put the magnetic signs on your vehicles. You can put signs up on the highway. You can also go out and seek out people like interior designers, builders, nonprofit housing groups. There's a lot of places you can go with your lumber. Like say the open house that Gary McInturf had from Kentucky was really eye-opening for me, that he was able in a very rural area to have a really hit with his open house, and it was a lot of fun for him, and he didn't really spend a lot of money on hot dogs. The marketing media has really changed in the last 20 years. In the old days, we did not have the Facebook, the Craigslist, and those things. That has really allowed us to get out in front of people. People look for things, and if we use the right tag words, they can find us. We do have available the print advertising, handouts, posters, business cards, community billboards, that kind of thing. The guerrilla marketing is where you try to get some impact without spending hardly any money, and certainly if you go to lunch somewhere and they have a place you can put your business card up, you can do that. The signage with the vehicles and roadside is good, but the goal is to have multiple channels of outreach so people can find you. So marketing is a big deal for all of us. We need to do a little bit all the time. We need to open our mind up and be aware of what other people are doing in their business that seems to be working. And you do want to strike up some business relationships with other successful business people so you can learn from them. You can share good ideas, things that work. You can seek out other sawmill operators to find out what works for them. And typically what works is something that's fairly simple and direct and get your message out there. One of the places that if you really want to sell wood products is head for the place where people live. And we have in America a huge metro population, and most of us live within an hour, hour and a half of a large metro area. And the metro areas have large populations, and they just don't have a lot of sawmills to satisfy that level of population. So when you go there, the retail prices are higher than they are in rural areas. So you can be selling for more money. There's more customers. They're closer together. So you can intensify your marketing just by going to the metro areas. So you can look at what are just little value added services that you can perform, like planing, simple machining. You can make some thick wood products like planters. I visited an operation in New Hampshire for the fellow was sawing white pine into thick boards and making planter boxes and benches and things for the outdoor gardens. The social media does allow us to tap into the metro area specifically. In just a few hours of driving time, you can reach a metro area with trucks and trailers and move a fair amount of material. You can also go to some kind of a show. If you scour through the metro areas, you can look at places like Eventbrite and see if there's a show that you can go that you can afford to go to for show and tell. Some farmers markets have craft sections. They go beyond the produce, and you can certainly bring examples. And not you can take inventory to sell, but sometimes you're limited on what you're going to take. So you can take a variety of items, and you can catch the eye of people. You can take orders, you can take deposits, you can sell some firewood. You can sell to anybody that comes through, and not just the homeowners that are walking by. There's other craft people there that might be able to use what you have too. You certainly can have your website collect email addresses for e-blast. You can automate the replies. Um, a great example of this is a company here in North Carolina called A Wood Railing, who does, I think, the best job of anybody I know with the website, collecting email addresses and doing automated replies. I'm just an outstanding business. So there's a lot of things we can do in marketing, and we just have to take a little bit of time on a regular basis and make that marketing effort.